The unemployment office is a lonely place to be these days. That's because the headline unemployment rate is the lowest in 50 years. Businesses are claiming they can't find people to hire. They're so desperate that employers must be willing to pay almost anything to get workers. Except, apparently, they aren't really willing to pony up. And with worker incomes growing so slowly, the benefits of low unemployment just aren't being realized. So what's going on here? The answer, in short, is that a whole lot of American jobs really don't pay very well, and when measured in relative weekly income, have been declining in quality for at least 3 decades. We've put together some charts to illustrate the problem. First, we went ahead and measured just how badly things have changed. And the answer we got, as you can see, was very badly. Far more American jobs pay below the average weekly income of all American jobs. And even though the mix of US jobs recovered a little bit from the Great Recession, we hit the skids again from 2017 onward. Now, don't get me wrong. America, like any country, has always had a mix of well-paying and poorly paying jobs. Not everyone can be a millionaire. And going back 30 years, we had a relatively equal division between high-quality and low-quality jobs. But since 1990, 63% of the jobs created have been low quality. How did we get here? Well, we have to go back in time a little. In the 1960s and 70s, the average American job offered 38 hours of work a week. Today, private sector jobs offer as little as 25 hours a week. So the problem is not just stalled hourly wages. It's a decline in hours of work made available by employers. A job just isn't what it used to be. And here's the real killer. The employment sectors with the lowest wage and lowest hour jobs have ballooned enormously over the last half-century. Today, America is dependent on lower wage, lower hour sectors of its economy for the majority of its private sector jobs. It's pretty ugly, huh? But it gets worse. Now, you may have known for some time that the US economy has been losing goods-producing jobs and producing more and more service jobs. These charts show how dramatic those changes are. Back in the 1960s, the job of making things was 42% of what Americans did. Today, it's only about 17% of American jobs. But that movement could not go on forever. In the past decade, we've hit peak service. The 17% of goods-producing jobs that are left are just enough to construct our buildings, work our natural resources, and staff what remains of our manufacturing sector. So now, where do people find new jobs? Here's a pretty easy way to look at it. 4 huge low-wage and low-hour employment sectors have created as many jobs as all the jobs that have been lost in manufacturing. Healthcare and social assistance, leisure and hospitality, retail, and administration and something called waste services. And today, the US has more workers serving food and drinks than it does in manufacturing. You can clearly see the rise of restaurant service workers here. Pretty lousy, huh? So we figured we needed a new way of tracking this so people in government, people in the financial markets, people in our universities, and just, well, people could keep track of where things are going in real time. And that's where our new index comes in. Officially, the US Private Sector Job Quality Index. We call it JQI for short. This is what it looks like. Every first Friday after the first Monday of every month, when the government's Bureau of Labor Statistics announces jobs and employment data, we will be looking over their shoulder to update you on the ratio of production and non-supervisory jobs with weekly incomes above and below the average weekly incomes for all of those jobs. We call those high-quality and low-quality jobs, just to keep things simple. So that's the JQI. And we will also be giving you an instant view. We call it JQ Instant, of how many jobs formed or lost in a given month were likely high or low quality. Think of the JQI as a monthly report card on how jobs are really doing in the US, something that the unemployment rate and the total level of job formation hasn't been telling us. Why do we need this? The JQI can explain a lot of things about the economy that are giving us all headaches, because things aren't working as they're supposed to. The JQI speaks to why, in this century, incomes have grown so much faster for high-paying jobs than for low-paying jobs. The JQI shows a relationship to the US trade deficit, which is reflective of the loss of all those manufacturing jobs. The JQI correlates with the decline and now persistently low U.S. interest rates. And the change in job mix illustrated by the JQI accounts for the historically low levels of labor productivity we've seen over the past decade. And there's more, but we're running out of time and likely your patience, so head over to jobqualityindex.com for all the information on JQI. The JQI, an essential index for our time, because as you've seen, job quality is at least as important as job quantity.